Greetings everybody, my name is Tommy and welcome again to my channel. Now let's get to the last game I'm going to do for Monopoly Week. And all I can say about this is, have you ever went out and bought something you thought it was a really good deal at the store, only when you finally took it home and opened up the box you found it was a generic off-brand piece of crap? Yeah, Monopoly Plus for the Xbox One by Ubisoft is just that. And it's the worst game I'm going to play in this batch of Monopoly reviews. While the SNES version may have had menus that were slow and animations that were a bit clunky and lasted too long, it was at least programmed right. In fact, I can say that about the rest of the Monopoly games I played this week. They were all programmed right. They knew how to play the game, the computer never cheated, and there wasn't anything broken about it. I can't say the same thing about Monopoly Plus. Alright, let's get down to what this is. Basically, Monopoly Plus tries to take what was good about Monopoly Streets and then take it and just fail miserably with it. While Streets had those city landscapes, so does Plus. Except where Streets tried to make theirs a living city, and Plus it's just more of a backdrop. While Streets had people who moved along with the tokens, here it's just the tokens animated to move, similar to the original PlayStation era Monopoly game. It's as lazy as heck, even the hat kinda just flies around on its own. At least in the NES and Super Nintendo versions, it had a rabbit inside moving it. Now there's a little bit of animation when it comes to building properties and making those look unique, but it's not as nearly as entertaining as Streets. And we're certainly not rewarded for crushing our enemies by seeing a falling tower. I'll give Plus some credit, at least it gives us colorized chance and community chest cards, which look a little bit better than the Streets, but that's about the only thing better, and that's something I'm nitpicking about. As for the narrator in Streets, it was Mr. Monopoly doing the role of MC, and he added a lot of character and charm to that game. Here it's just a standard narrator. He's not annoying or anything, but he adds very little to the game.
This is your chance to own some real estate. Are you ready?
Buying houses can be a bit of a pain in this game because the game doesn't do anything automatic for you. You have to literally keep selecting your property and then hitting the correct shoulder button just to put a house where it is. It's a pain. And as far as customizing your rules in your games, there are some options, but there's nowhere near as many options for customizing your own game as there was in Streets. But if this was just a problem of a scaled back version of Streets, I would be okay with that. But the game has major problems with its programming. Playing old school Monopoly you probably won't notice, but once you turn on that speed die option and the game just falls apart. Alright, the rules for the speed die, because I don't think the developers know how it works. Anyways, you have that red dice. You get it after you pass go. You have 3 numbers on that die. When you roll the die, those 3 numbers count to the 2 regular die in your roll. If you get a double with the regular die, you still take an extra turn, but you add that number onto your roll. Here, whenever you get a doubles, the computer forgets to add in that speed die for some reason. Right here, that chump should have landed on that railroad property, and I should have collected money. The Mr. Monopoly symbol works like this. You roll the die, you do what you do whenever you roll just the 2 dice, and you take the actions necessary for whatever space you land on it. If it's property for sale, you buy it. If it's a property that charges rent, you charge rent. If it's a chance card, you pick up the chance card and you do whatever it says. And then the Mr. Monopoly icon will kick in and it will take you to the next available property to either buy or to pay rent, depending on where you're at in the game. So yes, it is possible to pay rent on 2 properties. It's also possible to pick up and buy 2 properties per roll. It is the speed die. It makes the game go faster. Also, mortgage properties do not count because you do not pay rent. Here, it will take you to a mortgaged property, which is completely against the written rules of the speed die. They didn't even bother to read the rules before programming and releasing this game. What do you call someone who breaks the rules when it applies to him in a negative way so he doesn't have to pay a penalty? I do believe we call these people a cheater, and this game's AI cheats and cheats badly. The AI is no fun either, being either too stupid and too much of a pushover to be fun, or being a cheating jerk. You want to know what the worst part is, though? It does seem some of the designers did want to actually make a good Monopoly board, and they throw in this create your own board program mode. This feature lets you even import your own pictures. I don't know how you can do this, but that option's there. I won't be using this feature, but I can understand how some die-hard fans would leap at the opportunity. To make things a little harder for me to just say this game is just outright crap, is they did throw in this Monopoly card game, and it's actually kind of decent. It's like Uno, except the idea is to use cards to force people to trade with you so you can collect 3 groups of property in order to win. It's no Uno, but it's actually pretty decent. Yeah, I'm not going to BS anyone here. If you're looking for a competent treatment of the board game, you're not going to find it here. It's missing a large pieces of the rules in the way it was programmed, and the AI just cheats. I can't recommend the game, but I can't bash it completely when they did throw in a customizable board and a decent card game. But at the same time, you got to get the basics right, and they just failed. Take 10 minutes to study the new rules of the speed die before putting out a Monopoly game. Surely it would have taken less time than putting the faces into an Assassin's Creed game, Ubisoft. Anyways, I'm not going to give this game a rating, but I will say, go out and look for Monopoly Streets if you still own an Xbox 360 or PS3, and just get Monopoly Plus. It is a busted, damaged game that should have been debugged before release. Having these broken problems with the speed die just doesn't make it much fun, and the speed die is now used in competitive play, or so I'm told. Anyways, this is it for Monopoly Week. I hope you have enjoyed this line of videos. This is Tommy signing off, and if you have any comments, feel free to leave them down below.